Hello, Marvel fans, or MCU fans, or even Fantastic Four fans. Yes, it's me, Monty G. Yes, once again, it's time to do my thoughts on series because this is a horror channel, but I do also review other films that are not horror, and this is part of my thoughts on. And of course, yesterday I saw the Fantastic Four first step, so here are my thoughts on Fantastic Four First Steps. Yes. Now, Fantastic Four First Steps is a 2025 American superhero film that was directed by Matt Sharkman. It was written by Josh Freeman and Eric Pearson, based upon the Fantastic Four characters by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. Now, the film stars Pedro Pascal, Vanessa Kirby, Ebon Moss Backrack, Joseph Quinn, Julia Gardner, and Ralph Ellison. Now, in this film, forced to balance their roles as heroes with the strength of their family bond, the Fantastic Four defend Earth from a ravenous space god called Galactus and his asthmatic herald, Silver Surfer. Ooh. When it comes to Marvel's first family, the Fantastic Four has been a difficult time making a decent film about one of comics' most famous team. Now, the first attempt was back in 1986, which was a low budget film that was backed by low budget filmmaker Roger Corman, but the film was never released. But it's been pirated copies, been throughout the area, been released throughout the way since '94. Meaning that I believe you can actually view this on YouTube. There's also some other streaming services or some other, I guess you can say, black market service where you can actually watch this '96 film. I've seen only bits and pieces. I never saw the whole thing, but I know that there are certain parts of the film where you can see where the practical effects were not created, especially when it comes with the Human Torch. It looks very phony. But a lot of people did enjoy this particular film because it's actually did a nice representation of the Fantastic Four, despite the fact, obviously, it was low budget. 20th Century Fox then released a Fantastic Four film in 2005, and the sequel, Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer, in 2007. Unfortunately, Fox was disappointed with the box office result of the sequel, so they rebooted the series with a film that was entitled Fan Four Stick. Actually spelled it fan and four and stick, and most people call it Fan Four Stick back in 2015, which received negative reviews from critics and comic book fans, and the film bombed at the box office because that's how bad Fan Four Stick was. Now, Marvel Studios regained the film rights to the Fantastic Four from Disney's acquisition of 20th Century Fox, where comic book fans believed that we might finally get a decent interpretation of Marvel's first family. So now we have film director and former child star Matt Sharkin brings us his latest project and the 37th film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, better known as the MCU, Fantastic Four First Steps. Now, this is taking place on Earth 828 in the 1960s. We learned that astronauts Reed Richards, Sue Storm, Ben Graham, and Johnny Storm returned from a mission to space where, after getting hit by cosmic rays, gained superhuman powers. Now, Reed Richards could be able to stretch beyond limits. Sue Storm can turn invisible and do force fields. Ben Grimm became this rock granite solid thing called the Thing, and Johnny Storm could be able to set himself on fire. He called himself the Human Torch. Calling themselves the Fantastic Four, they would go on and defend this Earth from various threats, becoming celebrities and being regarded as this world's protectors. There are no other superheroes in this particular Earth, just the Fantastic Four. 4 years later, after announcing that Sue is pregnant, an alien being called the Silver Surfer descends to Earth, announcing the arrival of the cosmic being known as Galactus. She states that Galactus will come and devour the Earth, killing everyone on this planet unless the Fantastic Four can come up with a plan to stop the world devourer known as Galactus. I'll give you a little background. I've been a lifelong fan of the Fantastic Four since I started reading comic books way back during the '70s, and it was the first comic book that I bought as a kid. Really did enjoy reading all the Fantastic Four stories back during the early '70s, so I basically know mostly everything when it comes to the Fantastic Four. I would say up until the early '90s when comic books got too expensive. Now, I've been waiting patiently for a Fantastic Four film to be made, and each time I've been disappointed with the results. Now, of course, as I stated earlier, I never saw the Roger Corman film, and the first two FL films were okay, but those films didn't look or feel like the Fantastic Four that I'm known in the comics. Now, when you're talking about the two Fantastic Four films in 2005 and 2007, especially when it comes to 2005, actually, the only good thing I liked about that was Michael Chiklis' rendition of being Ben Grimm in the thing. I thought he did a pretty good job. But from the behind the scenes, it feels as though that directors had no faith in Jessica Alba. All they wanted to do was to look pretty and be eye candy to all the adolescent boys. It got to the point where Alba almost quit acting because of the bad treatment that she received from the director. It's like they didn't want her to act, and we all know that's not the great way to present perhaps one of the best female characters and best female heroes when it comes to Marvel, and that's Sue Storm. It's kind of insulting, not only to Jessica Alba, it's kind of insulting to Sue Storm. And I'm sure no one wants to talk about that god awful film, Fan Stick, because that was a huge mess. And it didn't even come close to what the Fantastic Four is known for. It was a very, very bad attempt. From what I understand, I think with Jonathan Trask, I think he was the one that was involved in the film. He and the writer couldn't get along. It's like the writer wanted to stick close to the source material. He didn't want to stick close to the source material because he had his own vision. It was a huge disaster. Obviously, the casting of Michael B. Jordan that caused a lot of backlash, having an African American person portray Johnny Storm. So no one didn't like that. It was just a huge mess. I'm sure everyone was happy when Marvel got back the rights to Fantastic Four, and they, like myself, was looking forward to finally seeing a decent and correct version of Marvel's first family on the big screen. So I'm here to tell you that despite some minor flaws, I really did enjoy what Matt Sharkman and his team have given us here, and that is a deeper introduction to the Fantastic Four here in the MCU. Now, first, I love the fact that Mac decided to put the Fantastic Four in a different Earth and used the retro-futuristic 1967, making it appear like the Fantastic Four comics that first came out. I thought that was a great idea. Not a huge origin story. They've been established. I like how the introduction of the Fantastic Four. They gave a very decent backstory. They talk about the people that they fought. Yeah, the Mole Man and the Red Ghost and his intelligent apes. There was a it was a good scene where they had Reed Richards fighting one of the Red Ghost's intelligent apes. I thought that was fantastic, and I thought it was a great way to introduce the team, especially to non-comic book readers. I truly enjoyed the visuals that they use in this particular film, especially from the Baxter building, inside of the Baxter building, the fantastic car, the spaceship. I mean, even Herbie. I love what they did with Herbie. I love the visuals that Matt and his team have done here. It looks very great, almost like sort of like if the Jetsons were put into live action without the comedy. The film is nicely paced as we get a good look at the dynamics on what a well oiled team the Fantastic Four are in this film. I'm pretty sure one of the problems, some probably thought that Sue was going to get more of a defined role in this particular film, but that's not the case in this film at all. I mean, everyone, and I do mean everyone, gets to shine here as the story doesn't allow one person, be it Sue or Reed, dominating Ben or Johnny, or Sue being the more focal point in this particular film. Everyone on this team, Reed, Sue, Ben, and Johnny, gets to shine in this particular film here, and that's credit to the writing that the script writers have done here. I mean, they laugh together, they fight together, they plan together, they do everything together like a team. In this case, like a family does. They have their disagreements, they have their arguments, they have their fights, they have their little play things, but everything is done like a family. And I have that credits to the story, the script writers, and the actors themselves, which I'll talk about later on. What I also like about this version of Fantastic Four is everyone is quite intelligent in their own way. Despite the fact that Reed being the smartest person on this planet, no one is dumb here. I mean, one thing I like the fact is that we don't get the silliness of Johnny was in the 2005 and 2007 films. Uh, We get a Johnny that while he still likes to make jokes, he is a very intelligent man and he plays an important role in this film. I won't say what it is, but I like the fact that no, he does has his fan. He does like to joke a lot, but he takes his job seriously as being a member of this team, and just like everyone else does. Another thing I like about this film is the visual effects they use for reach stretching powers, and I believe it's the best I've seen in any of the films. And then, of course, we finally get an accurate version of the Thing's orange rock skin from the comics. I really didn't have kind of a problem with the 2005 or 2007 version of the Thing. I think that was mainly because they didn't use CGI here. I mean, there in that film, I think they had Michael Chiklis wear some type of a suit in that film. But in this film right here, I believe Ebon did motion capture, but it's the most comic accurate thing when we versus the thing. And when you want to talk about the Fan Four Stick, because that was terrible. Speaking of the visuals, it's really nice to see an accurate comic book version of Galactus, and I'm sure everyone was upset about that dumbass gas cloud version back in the 2007 film. Oh boy, you want to talk about disappointing? You're taking one of the most godlike beings and one of the most featured characters in Marvel Comics, and you just turn him into some type of a gas-like thing. It's terrible. I mean, here in this film, when we first get the chance to see him, he looks very intimidating. He looks very powerful, and also having veteran actor Ralph Ineson voice him makes him the threat that this team hasn't faced before. Well, I know some people had some doubts about the cast. However, Pedro, Vanessa, Ebon, and Joseph, they all do an excellent job in their roles, and they all have great chemistry together. This film would not work if we didn't have the type of chemistry that these actors have, and they all do a great job. Whether it's Reed and Sue who learned that she is pregnant, or some of the other stuff that they have to deal through after the baby is born. There is Ben telling Reed that it's not his fault regarding his current condition or how he interacts with Sue or how he interacts with Johnny. And Johnny and Sue are talking about how to deal with the Silver Surfer. This cast makes the audience believe that they're a family and that they all love each other. And that's one great aspect of this particular film. That's something that we did not get um, with the 2005 to 2007 Ant-Man Force Stick. We never got any type of camaraderie between those films, but we get that here. I mean, there are also plenty of Easter eggs that we see in the film that probably only fans and comics will recognize. And my only kind of little small complaint that I have about this film is that I want to see more of Shalaban. I mean, not that I mean, what we get is fantastic. There's a great scene in the film where we got to actually see her use a surfboard, which was really fantastic. But I guess the screenwriters, Josh Freeman and Eric Pearson, wanted to focus more on the Fantastic Four than this particular version of the Silver Surfer. Now, I'm sure this film isn't going to be the film that's supposed to bring back the MCU, and I'm sure some people will probably have some negative things to say about it because they have some type of agenda that they had to appeal to. I mean, you're not going to stop that from happening, but for me, I really like this film. No, I wasn't expecting anything grand like Avengers Endgame or something that's going to turn the tide when it comes to the MCU. A lot of people have a lot of negative thoughts with the MCU because they really haven't supposedly been back since Endgame. Even though, as for me, I did like most of the films that have come out since Endgame. I think the only thing I didn't like was Thor: Love and Thunder, but I had no problem with Ant-Man and the Wasp. Quantumania, I had no problem with the Marvels. Like I said, yeah, I had no problem with the Marvels. Really had no, and like I said, the only thing I really didn't really like was Thor: Love and Thunder, and I wasn't even expecting anything like Captain America: The Winter Soldier. This film is not the grand event of Avengers Endgame or the spy thriller that Captain America: The Winter Soldier was. This is its own film. It's introducing a one of Marvel's most important family, Marvel's first family, which has not been done correctly, but it's finally been done correctly for the first time. And I'm very happy that they did a great job. Like I said, what we got was a decent introduction of the Fantastic Four into the MCU. That is the most comic book accurate film when it comes to Marvel's first family, with decent performances from all the leads, great visuals, and I can't wait to see how the Fantastic Four deals with the rest of the heroes in the MCU when Avengers Doomsday comes out next year. Now, it's kind of hard for me to rank this film. I'm pretty sure some other people say that this has been fantastic. As much as I would like to say that, I'm not going to say this was fantastic. To me, it was very, very good. Like I said, little minor flaws here and there when it comes to the story, little minor flaws when it comes to some aspects of the film. But overall, for me, I really did enjoy the film. So for me, I would probably say I would give it like 3 out of 5 stars when it comes to the Fantastic Four first steps. Like I said, a great way to introduce them into the MCU. So there you have it. That is my non-spoiler review of Fantastic Four First Steps. I hope you did enjoy it. If you did, please give me a thumbs up, like, and share. It really helps out with that YouTube algorithm. Also, if you're new here, please hit that subscriber button, ring that notification bell. That way we notify anytime when I put a new video such as this one. Once again, my name is Lamont Smith. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace.